Welcome everybody. I am the air quotes comedian, which is something no reasonable person would believe. At least that's what I said to the beak. What? Fear not, it won't become any clearer, dear viewer, and this is the Polemics. Welcome. Fucker Carlson is a cunt, and I'd like to say so to his face. Those fateful words, which I stand by, those words were what got me permanently banned from Twitter. This was before it was taken over by capitalist NPC pylon Rusk. I can't even recall why I was stating, as a fact and a truth, that Tucker Carlson is a cunt, but I'm sure it was because he said something that the only sensible reply would be to punch him in his oh-so-smug face. Fair enough, if I heard him ordering breadsticks at the next table, I'd want to cave in that gormless expression he has with my very own fists. Now, I know as well as the next person that a person can't help how they look, but while there's nothing wrong with the physical topography of Tucker Carlson's face, and even if there was, I wouldn't mock it, how he chooses to express himself with that face is what opens up the eternal vortex of wanting to repeatedly punch Tucker Carlson in his face. Well, I think I've established that I disdain the look of constipated fecklessness that Tucker Carlson chooses to populate his face with. If I dislike that superficial thing, then just imagine how much I despise the man himself. Tucker Carlson told demonstrable lies in his role as and I put news anchor in quotation marks, which he did for large amounts of money. When taken to court on the matter, it was argued with a straight fucking face that no reasonable person would believe that what Tucker Carlson said is true. The so-called judge in the case agreed. Tucker Carlson presents himself as one of the people, doesn't he? Blue-collar Barbie, that's what he wants you to believe of him, not heiress to the Swan Empire, including the ones belonging to... Oh yeah, it's King Charles the Tosser now, isn't it? Forgot about that. I'm purposely misgendering Tucker because I know that would really annoy him because he's anti-LGBTQ+, because he's a cunt. If Tucker Carlson had a backbone instead of the fish paste that constitutes his spinal column, then instead of telling bald-faced lies, which he very well knew to be lies, but told them anyway on the air for money, I'm trying to get into plagiarist corner. He could have done something novel instead. Oh, I don't know, tell something resembling the truth, or, at the very least, what you believe to be true. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I can be hypocritical at times, but this is hyper-hypocritical we're talking about here. You're texting your colleague with the missive, oh yeah, the election was definitely equitable, I'm definitely paraphrasing there, and then going on air in front of tens of people saying, I didn't mean what I sent in that text message at all. Spineless, lying, silver spoon cunt whose role in life is to yank the Overton window for conservative liberals ever rightward. You look into Tucker Carlson's heart and find it's a wizened, blackened husk haunted by the ghost of Bill O'Reilly, who's playing that Crossfire episode with Jon Stewart on repeat forever and ever and ever. Tucker Carlson, a man who is never afraid to be on the wrong side of history every fucking time, or the wrong side of the present and or future come to that. And what is in Tucker Carlson's future now that he has swanned off of Fox News? The world is his TV dinner. He could throw his hat in the ring for President of these United States. Imagine how quickly the Secret Service would be round to pay me a visit if that twat became president. What prognostications can be made concerning Tucker Carlson's hereafter? He could start and excuse me if I fail to maintain my usual Spock resting face, news empire of his own. News for Wankers, he could call it that. The News for Wankers Network, led by the king of wank himself, Tucker Edmund, Georgie Porgy Frozen Puddings and Pies, Hillary III Jr., ACE. What might fate have in store for Tucker Carlson? He could decide to take an interest in the family business, expand the legally recognised as fit for human consumption range of frozen foods on offer. He could have an ice lolly of him tonguing Trump's anus, couldn't he? And then another ice lolly of him flipping Trump the bird for when he's not on camera. What might happen to Tucker Carlson in the near prospect? Being guillotined in the dewy dawn by Fox's accounting department, thus depriving us anarchists of the pleasure. Who knows? All I can do is wish him the best and most painful exit from this mortal coil while we all get to watch. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, this AQ character just made a direct series of threats against fucker Carlson. But if I may direct you to legal precedent that the gentleman in question is directly responsible for, no reasonable person would think that what I say is even real. I might be paraphrasing, so bear this in mind for the next bit. Let's chop his head off. Of course, I am not without mercy. I'd expect him to be offered some last words or a final cigarette perhaps, or maybe the opportunity to, for one last time, tan his bollocks. Of course, fucker Carlson isn't the only party involved in the debacle. What of Fox News? What does it mean that criminal liability for lying to the public under the guise of news is replaced with a price tag? A pretty hefty price tag to be sure, but there's no mechanism in place to prevent it from happening again. Smells like capitalism to me. Ew, I stepped in some capitalism. Can Fox News actually afford to pay out that billion-dollar settlement? Or will we see Rupert Murdoch doing lap dances at the backstop drop and slop topless bar for tips in the near future? If Rupert Murdoch went the way of Robert Maxwell, I couldn't say as I'd be all cut up about it. If you don't know, Robert Maxwell was also a media mogul and a pension-stealing cunt who was taking a slash over the side of his yacht when he fell in the drink and drowned. So, if the same thing happens to Rupert Murdoch, I hope he somehow gets wee in his mouth before he hits the water. Hits the water and is eaten alive by carnivorous shrimps. Who's on the fucking Barbie now, you cunt? I don't watch Fox News, so I don't know what presenters, anchors, hosts or clowns in full regalia they have on there. Who will step into Tucker's clown shoes? Who has the ability to keep the ratings up without incurring a billion-dollar penalty for lying through your teeth? You know, like how liars do, like Fox News did. Will Fox News survive this episode of the ongoing soap that distracts us from the fact that the fucking planet is on fire and that most of the world lives in deprivation when we could have global post-scarcity right now? Stay tuned for the next talking head who will also be openly fascist, neoliberal and incomprehensibly smug. I'm sure Fox News will be just fine. Fascist and fine, folks. That's their new slogan. Before I go, I would be remiss if I didn't do my impression of Tucker Carlson's journalistic style, or stochastic terrorism, whatever you want to call it. Did I see Tucker Carlson polishing Putin's golf balls with his nutsack? I'm just asking questions. Did Tucker Carlson exclaim, "People need this swill," when confronted with his family products? I'm just asking questions, Tucker. That's what I'm doing. Will Tucker Carlson turn up suicided with an oddly out-of-place business card from the Fox News accounting department on the scene, with an oddly out-of-place message scrawled on the blank side? Fuck you, Carlson. I'm just asking questions, ain't I, Tucker? Just asking some questions. That's it for this episode of the Polemics. It only exists because a dear friend of mine asked me to do some audio commentary on Tucker Carlson leaving Fox. So I wrote this script in a couple of hours and absorbed the short post I'd made on Collectiva. I'll record it, which I'm doing now, or will be doing because right now I'm writing. Never mind. Then I'll do some low-effort animation and publish it by the end of business. Thanks for failing to turn me off quickly enough. Please dislike this video and do not subscribe to my channel. Mess with the metrics. That's the kinds of things I like to do.